Good evening. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me tonight. You might see that you're a little more close up and personal tonight. We're trying a little bit different camera angle, so hopefully you can, once we get working on our project, you'll have a good view. Because my goal is to actually show you what I'm doing and how to do it if you want to make your own wreath like I make. But welcome again. I am Julie with Creations by Julie. I go live on Monday nights and Thursday nights at 6 o'clock. Let me check. Ed's behind the camera, and he's going to read your comments on my phone, but let me pull it up and make sure that we're actually on, because y'all know you can't really trust Facebook anymore.
Barbara Ray Stan says hello, and Karen Ford Hunter says hello, and
hi.
Lisa Wood Atkins says hello.
Okay, great. I see several of you are already on. That's awesome. Let me pull this up for Ed, and I'm going to give him my phone so that he can try to catch your comments and your questions. One reason you want to comment, tell us hi, that you're here, where you're from, what the weather's like, or let's just chat. But I want to continue crafting, and it allows him to read the comments and ask me any questions that you might have. But what we do with comments is that he randomly, every live, and I do 2 a week, he picks 3 names out of the comments just at random, and he'll write your names down. At the end of the live, he will give me the 3 names. Your names go in our blessing bag for the month. Then if you're not catching this live, and you'll know if there's not that little red button up there that says live, you're watching the replay. But that's okay, you still have a chance to get your name in our blessing bag by just saying #replay. That lets me know that you are watching a replay that someone shared on their page. I will go through and pick 1 name out of the replay, and your name will go in the blessing bag. Also, if you bless my page and push the little SHARE button and put it on your page for your friends to see, and you invite them over, I go back through the day before the lives or the day of my lives, and I will put your name in the bag twice. So then the first live that I do every month, we draw a name out of that blessing bag, and I send you a box of craft supplies. It could be Magnolia design stuff. It could be just a craft that we do. You know, it could be just about anything. But you'll get a big box with different supplies and stuff in it, just as a thank you from us. But I appreciate you being here. Tonight we're actually going to do something a little different. This is the first time I've actually done a wreath like this on these boards. We're going to be using the small board from Unique in the Creek, and that's what UITC stands for, Unique in the Creek. I put their link at the top of my video.
Lorraine Allen says hello, and there's lots of ladies on there.
Good. Welcome, ladies.
Barbara Rose Can, and Karen Hunter, and Lisa Atkins, and Miss Renshaw, Sandy Renshaw.
That's awesome. If you're new here, let us know where you're from. We're in West Texas, I guess you would consider, down along the coast. But today, y'all, it was like 75, and then it's supposed to turn really cold.
Sandy Renshaw said love Unique in the Creek boards.
I do too, and I always make my flowers on the Unique in the Creek boards. But this is the first time I'm actually going to do a wreath, and I really wanted to try, and I don't think you'd call it a petal because it's not a flower, a fold that Laurie did. Laurie owns Unique in the Creek, and she's the creator of these plastic boards. And a couple of months ago, or maybe a month ago, on her breast cancer awareness wreath, she did a new fold, and I wanted to try it. Well, I always try, I hate to get on live and try something new for the very first time. So yesterday I was playing with it, and I realized quickly that I was not going to be able to do it with that fold. So I kind of made up another one. I don't know that it's been done before, but it's working for me for this wreath, and I'll show it to you.
Pat Powers said hi, and Judy Baker said, hey, Julie came over from Carrie's live, and Ann Baker says, I've been watching Carrie, but I decided to watch you from Bruton, Alabama.
Oh, really? My sister lives in, her actual address is Castleberry, but she lives in, what is it they call it, Ed? Appleton?
Yeah, the Sticks.
The Sticks. She lives way out in the Sticks. She's got basically a farm out there. But I have a sister that lives in Bruton. I have a niece that lives in Atmore. So we're very much aware of that part of the country. But thank you, ladies, for joining me. I appreciate that. I've watched Carrie a good bit, and I think she has done the fold that Laurie did here a month or so ago. But I'm going to show you something different. Works for me, we'll see. But we wanted you to be able to actually see the board and what I was doing, and we were afraid if we didn't go on the table with the stand and up and over that you wouldn't be able to see. So that's why you have such a close view of me right now. But my husband hates to turn my camera down because he doesn't like cutting off my head. But I told him I'd much rather you be seeing my hands than my head anyway. So anyway, that it kind of explains what we do about our giveaways. He's raising his hand, which is really weird.
Sandy Renshaw said, I bought my material today for the rag wreath.
Cool.
Heart.
Yeah. So I take it you found one of the hearts. I actually ended up getting online and ordering a box of them from Dollar Tree because I thought, you know, I'll have them for next year too. But I've made 2 of those. You know, the first one I made on my live sold, so I've made another one to put in my shop. Okay, so he's going to have to lower the camera so that you can actually see the board, and I'm going to show you. Y'all know I like to do things ahead of time, so I have 3/4 of the wreath done because once you see how to do it, it's the same thing over and over and over and over. But I'm going to show you the stuff we're going to use and explain to you how I did it. So hopefully he can bring it down.
And Travis says, so you do giveaways.
I do. I used to do every live, but the shipping just got to where I just couldn't do it anymore. So once a month, we draw from I call it my blessing bag, and I give away a whole box of supplies.
All right, just your match showing.
Okay, you got it? Hopefully y'all can see. He's going to use my phone. Oop, that's not good. I told you we were trying something new.
I caught it.
Yay. Okay, let's try this again. My tripod has like 3 or 4 levels, so maybe he didn't have it balanced.
Dorinda Allen says, I love the white ones you showed the other night.
Oh, the white hearts, the cream color hearts. Yeah, they turned out really elegant and pretty. And Monday, what does that mean?
Don't hit the table.
Oh, don't hit the table. Okay, so this, if you're not familiar with UTIC in the Creek, this is this is called their small flower board. And this is what I use on all my flowers. They have a large one. And I realize that you can't go to Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree and purchase this, but you can get it on Amazon. Or you can go to the link that I have at the top, uniqueinthecreek.com, and you can order boards, you can order the signs, you can order your mesh, you can order your zip ties, you can order ribbon, all in one spot. But I absolutely love their boards as far as a clean finish, easy, less mess. But I've never done just a wreath on them. I've always done my flowers. But this is the small one, and you can see it's got the holes all around it. When I first started my fold, I knew I was going to have to do quite a few because it comes out kind of small. And I like to keep my wreaths at an affordable price by just using 1 roll of mesh. So I came up with something a little bit different, but I'm going to use this board, and we're going to use tie wraps. You can use, no, we're going to use zip ties, that kind of same thing. You can use pipe cleaners if you want to, but I chose to use the zip ties.
Tie wrap is a brand name.
Oh, is it? I chose to use the zip ties for tonight. I'm going to use this sign, and I went ahead and prepared it. The sign is actually from Lee at Personally Yours, and I put her website up there. She has some fantastic signs. Now, Laurie has some beautiful signs on Unique in the Creek, but my goal this year is to use some of the supplies that I have. I have tons of supplies, y'all, and I'm 71. You know, if I keel over next week, what in the world is Ed going to do with all this stuff?
Roast of marshmallow.
Yeah. But I'm going to use what I've got. I've got tons of stuff, and I probably could make 2 wreaths a week and not even use up everything I've got. So I'm using a sign from Personally Yours. I prepared it yesterday by, this is because I knew your flowers, your middles are kind of in the flower. Does that make sense? They're down and then the flower comes up. But I knew I wanted this one to stand up a little bit on top of my mesh. So I added this little disc. It came from Dollar Tree. You get 2 in a pack for $1. So all I did was run my pipe cleaner on the other side through it, and then I used Gorilla Glue liquid and some hot glue and let it set overnight, and it's on there good. And I will take it and add it to the middle. But you need to do that ahead of time.
And Travis said Carmen Fanter on Facebook makes beautiful signs as well.
Oh.
Miss Reiki's watching.
Hi, Paula. I don't think I've seen her site. But yeah, you can find a lot of signs. And that's one reason I started using Magnolia Design, is I wanted to do some of my own signs. But this is what we're going to use. The mesh we're going to use is this pretty green and white. It's actually a fabric mesh. I don't know if you've ever worked with fabric mesh before, but it's real soft. And I really like fabric mesh. The only thing about this, it's got like little jute strings through it. It frays really bad, and you cannot use a wood burner. You have to use your rotary cutter. But we're going to use this green and white. The ribbons I chose were both 2.5-inch ribbons. One is this greenery, one is this black and white. I'm pretty sure this one came from Deco Exchange. This was Craft Outlet. So that's what we're going to use, and I'm going to show you how to get started on the board. They talk about loading your board, and all that means you're going to see, you can use either side, but I always like to put the Unique in the Creek logo on the back side.
I love that mesh. And y'all let us know whether you like this angle or
not. I really like this mesh too. I'm pretty sure I got this at Craft Outlet. I've already thrown away the wrapper, but I love the green and white, and I love fabric mesh. So to load your board, it just depends on, I'm going to use all of the rows except this right here. That's where I'm going to attach the sign. So I knew I was going to need 32 pieces of mesh. And I only wanted to use 1 roll of mesh. So I cut them at 10 inches. But I knew I was going to use all the holes. So I preloaded the board. Usually I do 1 row at a time. You can do the whole board, but it's just what I like to do. Now you can load with your zip ties. You'll notice your zip ties have a flat side on one side, and then they've got a little nub on the other. You want it up to where when you go to put it in, you put it in the flat. So you're going to take it through 1 hole. It's easier to load from the back, I'll show you. And you're going to put it up from the other. For this fold, you're going to go ahead and zip just until you hear it. You can hear it, but you're going to want to leave some distance there. So that's preloading the board. I find it easier to take it and turn my board this way and then just put my zip tie in with the flat to the inside. And I usually will load the whole row, just all the way around like this.
Peggy Forbes from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, Peggy. And then I go back and I zip them. So, you know, to get started, you would do at least 1 row all the way around, if that's where you intended to put your folds, okay? As far as your mesh, since I couldn't do this with a tool gun, not tool gun, what am I talking about? The
rotary cutter.
No, the wood burning tool. to where you burn it, to where it doesn't fray this bad. I'm going to use my rotary cutter. There's several different sizes and kinds, but this is just what I had. And I cut all my pieces 10 inches because, like I said, I knew I needed 32. And in a roll of mesh, if you cut them 10 inches, you'll get roughly 36 if they didn't shortchange you any. So I usually put something on it because when you get down to the end of the roll, it's going to curl. So I'm going to cut 10 inches, and I'll just cut a couple before we get to the wreath and show you the fold. This should give me a couple of extra here. And they really curl bad when you get down to the end. That's just barely 10. There again, I don't even know if this fold has a name, but it's what I did. And this works better for this particular one. I'm going to put my ribbon in the same time I put in my mesh. To me, that works better if you're using the zip ties. If you're using a pipe cleaner, you wouldn't have to do that because you could put your mesh in and then come back and add your ribbons and use your pipe cleaner. But if I do it this way, I find that if I make my petals, I'll call them, ahead of time, it works better. And I just use these little bitty, I don't know if you can see them, and I mean they're little bitty, they're hair rubber bands from the Dollar Tree. You get 100 or so for $1. But I use them. And what I'm going to do with my fold, since it frays so bad, I'm going to take it and fold it in half. And you're going to say this is a little bitty fold, and it really is. But I want these cut edges in the middle so they don't fray so bad. And I'm just going to like put it in half. And then I'm going to fold this side over, and then kind of scrunch it together, almost like a curl. But then I took it and I twisted it like this and got them even. And then I hold the bottom part of it, and I'm going to come put a rubber band right on the end. Lori calls it a nub. And you just put it around there twice. So that's what you've got. Y'all know I love my ruffles, but I didn't think the ruffles were going to work with this particular sign because the sign is an 8-inch sign and my board's only 12 inches wide. But this is what I'm going to use. I liked it like this because then when you put it in there and you put your ribbons on top, it helps the ribbons stand up. It gives it some fullness, but yet you've got your edges curled up in there and they don't fray as bad. So again, and then I just made a bunch of them. So you fold it in half. You see how that's fraying already, and I just cut it. So I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to fold it back on itself, back this way, and then just kind of scrunch it in the middle. And then take it and twist it. Now see, I would for sure cut that. Now if you wanted to...
Miss Stephanie says love the pedal.
I don't even know what it's called. I don't know if it's such a thing, but that's what I did last night. That's what I came up with. And then hold it to where they're kind of even. You're going to see in a minute, it really turned out pretty on the wreath. And then I'm going to put a rubber band on it. So you could make all of your petals ahead of time. Okay, so we have one more. Let me show you again. The way Lori did it, did she turn it up? She did a ruffle like this. She might have turned it down. And then she twisted it on itself like this to where your edges were straight here. But you still had all this on the side. And to me, I just, that's another way you can do it, where you've got like 2 ruffles here. But to me, it just showed too much of the frazzled edge. Now, if you used a different material mesh and used a wood burner to where you didn't get all these frays, then it might be better. But I decided I didn't like that for this mesh.
That really frayed when you tucked it up.
Yeah. I had already cut like 12 pieces. So I had to come up with something different. So I just put them in the middle, like that, and then you're gonna fold it over, and then scrunch it and twist it. See, they're still there, but I guess it's they're tightly in there. It just didn't show as bad. And then take the nub, put your rubber band on it. And once you get all the pieces made, you can put it together really fast. All right, so that made these extra. All right, I've already got others over here to go on my wreath. So let me show you. And when you do it that way, you can put your ribbon. And I don't think I've ever done this before. I chose to just put one ribbon tail. You'll see. But it's 2.5 inches. All right, here's the wreath with 2 rows done. Okay, I hope you can see it.
It fills the entire screen.
Okay. But this is what it gets. I've done, so you see it on the back, I've done this row, so that's 16 of them, and then I did 8 on this row. Now I'm going to do 8 more to finish it, and then I'm going to put the sign right in the middle. But do you see they're not real big, but yet they're full, and it really makes your ribbon tails stand up. I cut my ribbon tails at 14 inches, and I alternated. I started with one, and then every other one did it. And I did the same thing on the outside, and it worked out to where now the next row may not be that way, but this way, I didn't have a single one that had the same ribbon. This is row 1, this is row 2. So anyway, you can see the nubs in there. I put the ribbon and the mesh all at the same time. Do you have any questions so far? Anybody have any? We'll wait just a second. And then I will load this row. And to load it, I'm going to turn it over and do it. It just works.
And Travis says, love it so far. And Maria Stephen says it's gorgeous already. And Carrie Marie says, oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really pretty. I don't know that I maybe wouldn't have done a solid black if I had but I just decided to use what I had and go with it. But see, it's gonna look good with the sign, the green. Plus, I'm gonna put greenery in it. Okay, so I'm gonna load the board, but I'm gonna turn it over and load it from the back, row 3. And I'm just gonna take my zip tie and push it through those 2 with the flat side of the zip tie to the inside. I guess if you're left-handed, you might do it the other way, you know, but you want that flat side there for the straight to go through. So I've got 8 more on the inside. But it's the same thing over and over and over. I mean, that's why I didn't want you sitting here watching me do 30-something petals, or whatever you want to call them. Folds, I guess you'd call it. Okay, and then when I turn it over, I am going to go ahead and put my 2 pieces to zip them together, but leave part of it up, if that makes sense. I knew that it was so full that if he's back there, you wouldn't be able to see what I was doing down here. So we thought we would try this angle. Hopefully the camera doesn't end up in the floor.
If it does, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to go right on out the back door.
If y'all go back and watch my live from when I first started doing lives, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, the first couple of lives I did, he was trying to zoom in, and he flipped the camera to where you saw his face, and I'm telling you, my kids thought his reaction was hilarious. Because he was like, oh crap, what have I done now? You know, and he throws his hands up, and the first few lives was just funny. Let me get me a drink of water. But we still are not real comfortable doing lives, and we don't have the fancy equipment. I don't have ring lights, and I don't have a microphone. I am going to look into a microphone, because last week somebody said they had trouble hearing me, and I'm trying to talk a little louder. The camera is closer to me, so maybe it's better tonight. Okay, So you can see I've got 8 zip ties in here. So what I'm going to do is get my ribbon up here. I went ahead and folded my ribbon in half. And I've got, what did I do with the other 2? There they are. 4 of each. So what I'm going to do is start here and see, this is pretty close to both of those ribbons. So
Man, Stephanie said you do it so well, I enjoy your lives.
thank you. I really appreciate that. We're not comfortable with them at all by any means. But, you know, we do what we can. Okay, so I've got a piece made, and I'm going to make sure I think I know this is the top, because there's the curl. So what I'm going to do is take one of my ribbons. I can go ahead and put this one in there. I just don't zip it. Then I take my ribbon. I'm going to scrunch it in the middle. I've already folded it. Then I'm going to take it and flip it out, and I'm going to kind of do the same thing. Make sure my ends are kind of the same, and then I'm going to pretend like that's the nub, okay? And I'm going to put it on top of my mesh, so that I just have one zip tie in here. You could do it to where you use 2 zip ties and do all your mesh and then come back and do your ribbons, or you can do it one time and be done with it. And that's what I chose
Barbara
to do.
Rosecrans wants to know, what are your ribbons cut at?
14 inches. You could definitely do, you know, smaller if you wanted
With that
to.
stack of ribbons you got there folded, right?
Yes, yes. So they're 14 inches. Like this. I just folded them to have my center ready. Okay, so I'm going to take another piece of mesh that's already fixed, put it in there, use the floral ribbon, squish it in the middle.
Carrie Marie says, I love you both, Ed. Keep us laughing. He should let us see us occasionally. No.
Oh my goodness, y'all. Yeah, it was funny. My kids just, my daughter says she goes back and watches it now when she gets in a bad mood. And it just makes her feel better. But you see how making that little bitty mesh, you still can see the mesh and it's pretty, but it just kind of pulls your ribbons up. Okay, and then you just do it as tight as you can. All right, and then I'm going to go around and do another one. That one I can see a little fray. Put that one in there and get my ribbon. Twist it. And then put it in there right on top of that nub. I'm actually zipping it right about where my rubber band is at. It's about, well, you can just see it's about your finger to the first little fold, far in there. It's not all the way to the holes.
Diana Wheeler said, Zatzevich says, love the accent, and she's a Bostonian.
Oh. See, I think everybody else has an accent. I'm sure, I guess mine's Southern. I grew up in Alabama, but we've lived in Tennessee for a while, and we've been in Texas for over 30 years, so maybe I have a
37
Texan.
years.
37? I think it's over.
Karen Moore said Hunter was watching you while I was cooking dinner.
Oh, good. Okay, here I go. More. Put the nub in there. And this time it's the floral ribbon.
All right, where do you cut the mesh at? Miss Terry wants to know.
10 inches. And you could go longer and have a bigger poof, but you would need more than one roll of mesh. I like to keep my wreaths affordable. Very seldom do I do a huge wreath over the top. I just don't want people to have to pay $30 to ship a wreath. So I try to keep them low in cost and affordable. So I just wanted to use one roll of mesh, which I cut them at 10, and had plenty. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. See, I made 3, and that's what I'm going to need. No, I've got these over here, so I actually have some extra ones.
Miss Yankovich said, is that called a flower board or large board, or is there a difference?
There is a difference as far as size. This is the small flower board. They also have a large flower board. But y'all, they have the rail board, which I showed you a couple of weeks ago with the Baby It's Cold snowman vinyl. They have a character board. They have a cross board. We told her the other night that she needed a heart board. But you can go to Unique in the Creek, or you can find them on Amazon. But this one is, I normally buy the small boards because when I make my flowers, there again, I don't make them huge.
Brianna says they're both flower boards. One is a small
Yeah.
board at 12, and the other is large at 16.
Oh, I wasn't sure the size of the other. And you figure by the time you add your petals to them, I mean, it makes the small one makes about a 24-inch wreath, between 22 and 24.
Barbara Rosecrans said, have you tried a crossboard yet?
I have. I did, for my daddy's grave, I did a tulip cross. And I think I've done a couple of other crosses on the crossboard. I have not tried the oval board yet. I have a couple back there. I just haven't tried it. Somebody, I think it was Carrie, had said they make really big wreaths, though.
And Travis said, I wish she had a heart board.
I know. Maybe she'll hear us and do it. She was actually on my live a couple of weeks ago. I told Dad that made me really nervous. I feel like she's queen of the boards for sure. But I need to message her and tell her this is a different fold, I think. I don't know if anybody's done it before.
Some of the other, Sandy Renshaw says some of the other crafters also sell lowers boards in their shops.
Yes, they do.
And Mariana Stephanie says you got to try the oval, but yes, they're huge.
Yeah, I ordered some. I think I have 2 or 3 in there. I just haven't had a chance to even try them. Like I said, I normally get the small boards because that's what I like to do my flowers on. Okay, I'm going to make sure we're not messing up here. But you could definitely... Yeah, what?
Oh, Becky Bieleflower wants to know what kind of mesh you're using.
It's fabric mesh. I'm pretty sure I got it from Craft Outlet. But now Lori at Unique in the Creek, I'm not sure if she's selling fabric mesh yet. But you could use any kind. I just enjoy the fabric mesh because it's soft. But this would be a good wreath for even some of the cheaper mesh from Hobby Lobby. Because, I mean, your ribbon pretty much covers it. You just see a little of the mesh sticking out.
Somebody said you could cut the oval to make a heart.
Oh, I don't know that I'd want to try that, though. I'd make a mess for sure.
You'd have to cut it with a router so it wouldn't make a mess.
I started to say we're not coming out with the right thing, but I couldn't see the black and white there.
Oh.
Like I said,
Lois
y'all...
Bolin wants to know what the best mesh to use on the cross.
I've seen people actually even use the smaller mesh, 5 inches, 6-inch mesh. I think it just depends on how full you want it and how you want it. The cross I did, I used flowers. I used tulips. But didn't I do, oh, I started saying, didn't I do a cross in red, white, and blue? But I used roses.
Yeah.
Yes, I did a cross with the foam roses.
And Travis said I use jute mesh for my cross.
Yeah, I think you can use just about any. I don't like Dollar Tree mesh. I've never used much of Michael's. Hobby Lobby's mesh, some of it's okay and some of it's not. They do sell one that's like this, only it's green with tan. They sell a navy and tan, and I think a black and tan. It's okay, but I don't think I have ever used a mesh that caught on itself as bad. It's almost plastic, and the edges of it, it catches on everything. And that's why I wasn't crazy about that. But I used to buy all my mesh from Hobby Lobby. And my ribbon and stuff too, until I got smart and realized, oh my gosh, I'm not getting a whole lot on this roll, you know. But I order a lot from Craft Outlet, but I order from different places. I order from Lori. Now, most of the time, I do order my...
Miss Hewitt wants to know if that's wired ribbon.
Yes, I never use anything but wired ribbon. That's all I ever use, unless it's for just a little shelf sitter or something. Wired ribbon is probably 95% of what I've got. Okay, so that's the third row. And like I said, y'all, I haven't done this, so I don't know what it's going to look like when I try to put that sign on there. But I'm going to take, and this is a zip tie gun. So what it does is it catches those zip ties and pulls them tight and cuts them at the same time. And I just find that it's easier on my hands to do it that way.
She wore mine out and then wanted to
Yeah, I
buy
had to buy
herself one.
another one. When you've got a lot of zip ties with those flowers, you need a zip tie gun. If it's not as tight, usually if it cuts the first time, then I tightened it really tight. If it goes once or twice, then it's tightening that zip tie for me. Okay.
Francis Terry wants to know if you can show us the fold on the mesh one more time.
I will. I certainly will. Okay, so here's what we've got. And that is, here's your back. You see how clean the back is? It's not going to scratch anybody's door. You do have 2 holes up here that if you want to put, Lori uses a zip tie there, but I like to use a pipe cleaner. So when I go to put the sign on, I have to make sure I have the wreath turned right. But this is actually 32. Yeah, 32? 8 times 3? Folds. I want to call them pedal.
3 makes 24.
3 times 8's what? I know it's 16 and 16, so that's going to be what, 34, 24? Anyway, math's not my strong point, especially when I'm live. Okay, but anyway, see how full, and you just see a little bit of the mesh. You don't see a whole lot of it. But anyway, and that's just using 2 different ribbons. But yeah, I'll show before I put the sign on there. I'm not going to put a bow, I don't think. Ed will tell you, let me get a rubber band. I normally finish my wreaths out in my utility room with them hung up, and then I'll leave them there for a day or so and look at them and see if I want to change anything. So I may decide I want to put a bow, but normally I wouldn't. Okay, so it's at 10 inches. The only reason I cut it 10 inches is so that I could just use 1 roll of mesh. See, I did that and I have 4 left. So that's probably 32 holes or so. Because you should be able to get, is it 36 10-inch pieces? So, but I might have used 1 or 2 for something else. But anyway, you want it with the curl side up. This one's pretty curly because it was towards the end. And then because it's frayed so bad, I took it and I folded it in half. That's what makes it so short. Okay, and I put those 2 frayed edges right here, kind of together. And then all I did was fold this side over, and then just kind of scrunch it right there in the middle. It's almost like a bow tie. And then I just flipped it together to where both sides were kind of even. And see, my curl is like up and under here. And then I put a rubber band around the end of it, the nub, like this. If you had pipe cleaners, if you were using pipe cleaners in your board instead of these zip ties, you could definitely, you wouldn't have to use the rubber band. Make your fold and then put it straight in here with the pipe cleaner. Turn the pipe cleaner, twist it, and then do all your mesh, and then come back and do your ribbons. The reason I did the zip ties is so that I could just do it all at one whack. I put the mesh in there like this, and then I put the ribbon tail over it and just zipped it up one time. So, did that answer your question and help? I don't even know what it's called. I don't know that that fold has a name. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I've got the 2 pipe cleaners, and they were just run through with some glue on the other side. Gorilla Glue, liquid, and hot glue. And I did that yesterday. All right, so you could use any of these holes. I've got to make sure, let me find where the top of my wreath is. There's the top right here. So my sign has got to go this way because you want it straight. So I could pick any of those holes across from each other and put my sign through those holes.
Miss Terry said thank you for
Oh, you're welcome.
showing again.
All right, see how the sign is kind of set up? I could pull it a little tighter, but I don't want it too tight. I don't want it to move. But let's see, is that centered? The welcome?
Looks at it.
I might have to hang it up and see.
Looks centered to me.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, once I know I'm happy with,
Jana Hewitt wants to know, do you leave the rubber band on after putting the zip tie on?
yes. It might disintegrate after a while, but you've got that zip tie around it that will hold it. I always leave the rubber bands on, yeah. Okay, so this doesn't go all the way to the bottom. So I could, let me see where it's hitting the nubs. I don't think it even hits the nubs. You could put some glue on the top of the things and hold it better, but I think it'll hold just like that.
Sandra Renshaw said it looks pretty.
All right, so I'm going to take this and then I'm just going to twist it. And if you can put your ends to your pipe cleaner back down through that hole. That one doesn't want to go. Get it a little tighter. Put your pipe cleaner back down through there, and you could put a little glue on it if you want to. Normally what I do with my pipe cleaner in the middle right here, I put some hot glue, and that's where I put my business card, is right over the top of this pipe cleaner. So, I mean, see how neat and pretty it is from the back? Just nothing sharp. And that's why Lori likes to use zip ties. But that's it. I don't think I'm going to add a bow. If you did, you could put it here at the bottom and let the tails hang down. But there we go. And like I said, I don't think you would have to glue the sign down. If you wanted to, you could use both. Now see, I'm feeling, and the styrofoam is not touching the plastic at the bottom. But if you were to do a flower like this, and your center would go down further, it wouldn't set up like this one does. But I didn't want it going down that far. So this is...
Peggy Ford says gorgeous, just like it is. And Francis Terry said that's very pretty.
Yeah, I like the black and the green. Now, after doing it, I would, these 8 ribbons right around my sign, I would cut them a little bit longer. I don't know that I like how short, like that one looks really short. So if I was to do another one, I would try putting just longer tails, maybe 16 inches, just on these right around the sign. To me, it just looks like they need to come out a little bit more. But that's how you figure out what you want to do. And I already told y'all, crafting needs to be fun, and everybody does something different. It's just what you like.
Pat Powell says I love it, and Carrie Marie says I love it.
Thank y'all. I think it's pretty, but is it one of my favorite folds and stuff? No, I still love my ruffles, and most of my wreaths will probably be the ruffles. But I just wanted to show y'all how easy it was on these boards. Probably the next time you see me, you can raise it back up now. Probably if he doesn't knock it off the table, let's see. Probably the next time you see me using a board, I will be making a flower. And then those are called petals, and you can make just about any type of flower with these boards. Laurie, I think, only uses the large flower boards, and I only use the small ones, but it's just because I don't want to have a box 24 by 24 by 6 to ship. I try to keep mine at not over 22. And this ended up being, it's on a 12-inch board, but it ended up being almost 20 inches, about 19, 20 inches. And it's plenty big enough for my front door. So I'm just happy with this size. I don't do a whole lot of over-the-top huge wreaths. They're pretty, but the more you put into it, the more you're going to have to sell it for. Okay, hopefully Ed's not making y'all dizzy. Okay, so I appreciate y'all being with me tonight. I hope we answered your questions. If not, I will go back and read all the questions and try to say hi to you after the live. If I don't get to it for a day or two, don't think I'm ignoring you. Facebook just does not like for us to just answer one right after the other. They'll put you in Facebook jail if you like something too many times. So I usually take a couple of days to get back to the answers. But Ed should have 3 names that he has randomly picked. Let me get my glasses on so I can see how to write them. And these 3 names will go into our little, it's just a blessing bag.
Several of the ladies saying thank you for doing it.
Thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will be back Monday. Monday is Magnolia Mondays. And I did get my January kit yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes. So Monday, I will be showing you how to put that kit together. And it's really cute this time. It's a truck with hearts coming out of it. Okay, so I need 3 names, Ed.
Lisa Wood Atkinson.
Okay, Lisa Wood.
Atkinson.
Okay, Lisa, your name's going to go in the bag.
Carrie Marie.
Carrie, your name will go in the bag.
And Karen Boardhunter.
And Karen. Okay, ladies. Be sure to share this to your pages. Your names will go in twice for doing that, and then I will pick a name for the replay. We're in the middle of the month, so we still have several more lives to do, and then the first of whatever the first Monday is, well, unless it falls on a Thursday, whatever my first live of February, then we'll draw a name, and I'll send you a craft box. Paula Reiki won the first one, and Kathy Udy won the one for last month. So hopefully I know Paula has gotten hers. Hopefully Kathy has gotten hers. So again, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. It was something totally new and different for me, and I'm not real comfortable trying anything new and different on a live because something always goes wrong. You know, Ed may drop the iPad off the table. Who knows? But, and I try not to go over an hour, which is why I try to do things ahead of time. If I'm going to paint, I try to go ahead and have that done. But now I will open the box Monday and show you step by step, even though they give you instructions and there's a video that you can watch. But if you don't know about Magnolia Designs, check them out before Monday. And you can go back through my live this past Monday, and I gave the link that you can go to my website for Magnolia Designs and look at all the different stuff that they have. So Monday will be Magnolia Monday, and I will see you at 6 o'clock. Y'all have an awesome weekend. We hope to celebrate Christmas with our kids, some of them. They're not all going to get to come, which is why I changed the live back from last night to tonight, because our youngest was supposed to be coming in today. They didn't get to come because of COVID. You know, it's just, this is the second year in a row we haven't seen them at Christmas, but it's all good. I'm ready to get my hands on those little grandbabies, though. We did, Ed didn't get to see them. They actually were here while he was in the hospital. So I did get to spend a little bit of time with them in June, wasn't it, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
And we saw them a little bit at my mom's funeral. But anyway, I appreciate y'all being here and just sharing a little bit of your night with me. But have a great weekend. And if you're in the northern part, and probably even northern Texas, y'all stay warm Saturday. It's supposed to get really cold. So I'll see you Monday at 6 o'clock. Thanks. Bye-bye.